Welcome to the Urban Advantage Podcast, the official voice of the University of North Texas at Dallas. Here are your hosts, Benjamin Bullock and Greg Campbell. Take it away, guys.
Hello, world, and welcome to Season 1, Episode 6 of the Urban Advantage Podcast, presented by the University of North Texas at Dallas. I'm Benjamin Bullock, the Senior Marketing and Communications Coordinator for UNT Dallas, and joining me as co-host is the owner and CEO of Rainmaker Incorporated, Greg, my man, Campbell. What's happening, Greg?
Ben, glad to be back on the air. It's been a few weeks now.
I'm still trying to burn off this Thanksgiving this meals, you know what I mean?
Well, I can see you still have a little bit more work to do.
Oh, shade!
This has been a really important week in U.S. history. Mm-hmm. But let's start off first. What's going on at UNT Dallas?
Man, so UNT Dallas, you know, you guys with holiday season now here. UNT Dallas hosted a toy drive, gift wrapping event in conjunction with the Trinity River Mission nonprofit organization last week. I got the opportunity to shoot that event for a UNTD news piece. So go ahead, head to our YouTube page and our social media channels at UNT Dallas and check that out. So pretty much our SGA and also our student leaders got together and they just wrapped gifts for underprivileged kids within the Dallas community, and it was a great event.
That sounds wonderful. I mentioned before that this was a very important week in U.S. history with the passing of President H. Bush. Mm-hmm. And the fact that it's done with such a class, you know, the National Cathedral ceremony, his son speaking and giving the eulogy at that ceremony, and then his body being flown back to Texas and the flyover over his presidential center in Houston, and then the other activities, just things held with such class that represented, you know, who he was and what he meant to this country.
Yes, and you know, like you said, it was a great environment. Just everybody showed a lot of love towards the Bush family, especially us being here in Texas. You know, we were definitely in mourning here. You know, that family is definitely, if not the biggest family or name in this state. So me being new to the state of Texas, you know, Texas did a really good job of showing compassion and love for the family with the passing of President Bush.
And to think about some of the major accomplishments that he made during his presidency, it's hard to imagine that he was a one-term president. Mm-hmm. But in that single term, mm-hmm. he was able to accomplish so many things and to set an example not only for politicians, but for citizens of this country.
Absolutely. It was good to see the Clintons and the Obamas at the ceremony yesterday. For me, that was a good sight to see. And, you know, you saw little Bush handing Michelle some candy like he always does. I don't know what his infatuation with that is. It's kind of weird.
Well, it sounds like, you know, it looks like they have a really strong relationship. And to imagine that you can be political rivals, but at the still be civil with each other and actually develop a friendship, because, you know, there is competition, but after the competition, there's a sit down and being real human beings with each other. I just want to add a little shout out for a new movie that is going to be premiering December 14th. It's called If Beale Street Could Talk. It is a make of the James Baldwin novel that just talks about the power of family. I think it's going to really impact us. There's a lot of buzz around this movie. Mm-hmm. One, because it's come from James Baldwin, who's such a powerful author. But I'm told that the performances in this movie have now gotten all of the award shows really, really enthused. And I expect a lot of people will be going out there to see this. This is something that you can bring your entire family to, and it should be a really good experience. So I urge everyone to go check out this movie.
Yeah, I need to go see that along with Creed 2. I'm slipping big time. I'm going to go see it this weekend.
Now you got some time on your hands, not your classes winding up. You should have some time. You can catch some movies.
Man, look, I'm busy, man. You know, even though the class takes up a lot of my time, you know, I got a wife to take care of, and she's expecting. I got a little girl on the way, so, you know.
You heard it here. Not only did he make the move to get married, now he's expecting a little girl.
Yeah, and we got to move, so we got to find another place. So, you know.
And you can imagine Ben is going to be making, you know, that move to develop the nursery and paint and get all these pink things hung up and, you know, everything ready for the baby. When's the baby due?
End of March, around my birthday, early April. And to your notion that I'm going to be doing all that. I will be paying somebody to do most of that. That's just never been my thing.
So Ben does media. Ben does not do painting.
Ben pays for things to get done. You know what I mean?
Got that. Well, congratulations.
Thanks, Greg.
Congratulations
Appreciate
to your wife, because we know that she's doing all the heavy lifting in this.
Yeah. Just to save my tail on that one, yeah, she's doing all the heavy lifting.
Yeah.
I'm just bringing home the money and paying the bills. This is what I do.
You just keep on bringing home the money. I know she'll be happy with that.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, for our first-time listeners, the purpose of this podcast is to identify and keep you updated on what's happening in Southern Dallas and at UNT Dallas. Ranging from education to economic development to community relations to entertainment, we'll have it all for you right here.
Be sure to follow the podcast on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Urban ADV Podcast, and by using the hashtag Urban ADV Podcast.
Greg, what's your social media handle, man? To get your likes and followers up again, man.
I am Greg Campbell. Again, I just tell you, it's real simple. You can find me real easily. You just remember Greg Campbell, and you just acknowledge, I am Greg Campbell.
And you just remember @BenBullJive. That's all you got to do, man. Just type it in, and you'll see me pop up.
Hey, listen, if you just put in Jive, the Microsoft will do the rest.
Yeah, if you just pop up, you'll see me down there, man. Also, be sure to subscribe to our podcast on iTunes, SoundCloud, and YouTube. Well, coming up next, we will welcome the UNT Dallas Director of Career Services, Arthur Lumzy, to the show. Stay tuned as he shares what steps you need to take to get ahead in your desired career field. Don't touch that dial.
Perched on a hilltop overlooking the downtown Dallas skyline, the University of North Texas at Dallas is the only public four-year university in the city of Dallas. Serving the #1 job market in America, UNT Dallas is ranked #1 in Texas and #6 nationally as the most affordable university. We as Trailblazers believe that every student should have the opportunity to earn a college degree regardless of their economic background, and we deliver. For more information, visit untdallas.edu. Blaze your trail. Welcome back to the Urban Advantage Podcast, the official voice of the University of North Texas at Dallas. Here are your hosts, Benjamin Bullock and Greg Campbell. Take it away, guys.
Welcome back, everyone. Remember, you can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Urban ADV Podcast, and subscribe to us on iTunes, SoundCloud, and YouTube. Today, we're excited to welcome Arthur Lumzy, UNT Dallas Director of Career Services, as our special guest. Welcome to the show, Arthur.
Thank you so much. I'm so elated and glad to be with you guys today.
Well, Director of Career Services, what does that mean? What's your role at UNT Dallas?
A little bit of everything at UNT Dallas. So I get to assist our students in the realm of major and career exploration. That means helping students identify what are some of the various options that they can pursue as it relates to their degree, as well as the various employers that relate to it here in the Dallas market and even outside of Texas. Also assisting students with those who are thinking about and wanting to go to graduate school, meaning starting from the very beginning, how important their GPA is important and what artifacts and things they need to include in their portfolio that they need to have. Also, we host events all throughout the semester, individually and collectively, whenever we partner with various departments, such as our career fairs, our Major Madness, our various workshops when we have invited guests in, whether from community constituents or alumni. We also assist students with developing and cultivating their resume and also honing their interview skills too, whether that's through one-on-one or through our group counseling as well. And lastly, connecting with employers in the community who are looking to hire UNT Dallas students.
Arthur, many of our students that are attending the university are first-time attendees for their families. I mean, their families don't have a history of going to college. How does that change or impact the way you approach career services at UNT Dallas?
That's a great question. For us, we try to make sure we're very intentional in our programming efforts and initiatives. And so one of the programs that we're working on developing for the spring semester is our Career Explorers program, where we're going to be looking specifically at career exploration because sometimes students don't know what they don't know. So we want to make sure we're being intentional in providing resources that are fun as well, fun and engaging. So one of the things that we're going to be doing is having a vision board party where sometimes students need to be able to see themselves in the various roles. Also showing students how they can conduct informational interviews with people who are serving in the roles that they're wanting to do. Also, we hope to host a Holland Island party where students can learn a little bit more about themselves as it relates to career exploration and the various opportunities that are related to it, and major exploration workshops too, all throughout. And lastly, we plan on having like a First Friday event where we're being able to take our students to various employers that relates to their interest and industry to grow our partnerships further in the community.
Okay, Arthur. Now, me and you have a really good relationship, man. I mean, dating back to me actually doing one of my first video pieces on you during Black History Month last month. So, number one, how did you get started in this line of work? And, you know, you growing up in Columbia, Mississippi, how did you kind of just fall into this particular line of work?
I would definitely say by happenstance. I interned in two offices in graduate school. One was financial aid, which I thought was going to be where I was going to end up. And the second one was career services. I'm so glad that I had an opportunity to intern, or should I say it was my practicum for graduate school. It was actually, both positions were unpaid, which for some students that can be...
You got to make it happen.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's a sacrifice.
Yeah.
But I'm so glad I stepped out on faith and took the opportunity to actually do it consecutively. I learned a lot about myself, and more importantly, I learned a lot about the position and how I wanted to grow and hone those skills that I was wanting to obtain. The practicum opportunity actually turned into a part-time job opportunity, and then that part-time job opportunity turned into a full-time job opportunity once I completed my degree. So it was very timely. I'm so grateful that I took advantage of it. And like our students, just wanted to gain a little bit of experience because I knew I had a degree, but sometimes you have to go above and beyond to set yourself apart from your competitors, because not only are you competing with the members of your class that you're graduating with, but also everyone else who's graduating at the same time.
Okay. Talk to me about cultivating relationships. I know that's a big thing for you in terms of knowing information, random information. So when you meet somebody, you have something to kind of hit on with.
Absolutely. So for me, that goes to the level of research or just staying in the know as it relates to facts as a whole. So for me, for research, whenever I'm meeting with the person, I like to Google them.
Yeah.
Like I was joking with Mr. Campbell when we were coming in today.
Mr. Campbell.
Well,
you know,
okay. That sounds good, Mr. Campbell.
Mr. Campbell. Can you call me Mr. Campbell, Ben?
Mr. Campbell, yes.
Thank you. That made me feel so good.
Well, it's the truth. I'm big on respect, and I think that goes to the level of cultivating relationships. You have to know who you're dealing with and treat them with the utmost respect. So I know for me, I like to Google. I like to utilize LinkedIn. I like to just be nice and be respectful. I think that's some of the important traits that anyone can use throughout their career path.
Arthur, you have mentioned during the course of your conversation here with us your contact with employers. Tell us how you're working with employers to assure that there's a pathway for our students to get a job.
Absolutely. So I try to be out in the community. I try to partner with our various departments on campus, one being our advancement office. Shout out to the advancement office.
Dr. Monica Williams.
Absolutely.
Miss Williams, that's my girl.
Absolutely.
She's a Cowboy fan too.
Yes, she is.
She is the Cowboy fan.
The biggest Cowboy fan on the campus.
How about them Cowboys?
Yeah.
They're good. No shade.
Yeah.
So I understand that you're active with employers here in the area. How about internships, mentorships? How important are those for our students?
Very important. I think our students definitely should have mentors inside and outside of their industries that they're wanting to pursue. Meaning that could be from their professors to the professional organizations that they are part of on campus, to even the nationally campuses that are affiliated with them, from Greek Life to all types of networks that they can utilize. I think those are very important for our students to take advantage of while they're in school.
How is your office helping to make those connections, either with employers or internships or mentors?
Great question. So we host generally 2 career fairs every semester where we invite employers to campus. Also, we partner with employers to work with our faculty members to have them come to class. We have an initiative we like to call Don't Cancel Class, where anytime the professors are out, if they let us know ahead of time, we will work on either A, facilitating the class on a career development topic, or B, having invited guest speakers to talk to the content and the skills that are needed to be successful in the industry. Also, we invited alumni back and employers to host panels for us as well. Like recently, we had a representative on Monday from the United Nations, Ben Mailer, who talked on how to make a difference through public service. Okay. So we're all about getting employers and our community constituents and our alumni involved through a myriad of ways.
Now, you speak of employers. How much has Dallas being the #1 job market in the country influenced your thought process and execution as a career service director and the rest of your team as well?
Oh, I think it's great. The Dallas job market is booming right now. I know as I was driving in today, I usually try to start my day listening to NPR. And one of the things that they were talking about was that the PGA, Professional Golf Association, is moving to Frisco. Also, we have a company by the name of McKesson, a Fortune 500 company. They're moving to the Las Colinas area. Just being in the know, one of my favorite resources that I like to utilize outside of NPR is the Dallas Business Journal, which I think our students can take advantage of big time.
I'm subscribed.
Same here.
I know Greg is. Probably wrote the whole daggone thing, to be honest with you.
Well, it goes back to research. When I was Googling Greg, I noticed that he was in the Dallas Business Journal several times.
He's the man.
Absolutely.
He makes it rain.
Absolutely. So I think our students could take a lot from researching it, particularly learning a lot about the Dallas-Fort Worth job market and also utilizing the various chamber artifacts too. I constantly use our Dallas Regional Chamber. They have a Why Dallas page where it talks about the various employer clusters as well as the various cities in the surrounding metroplex and the leading employers, which for me it is a great tool for how I'm going to leverage what companies to target and in what order, specifically related to the various opportunities that they provide, but then also in relations to how close they are to UNT Dallas.
That's great. Now, I know your office has had a major impact on students here. Why don't you give us some of the statistics? How many people are finding jobs? How well are we doing it with our graduates and them being able to be placed in jobs or go on to grad school?
Absolutely. So every semester, our office partnered with the Advancement Office to collect survey data, what we like to refer to as our first destination data for our students, as relates to what moves they're going to be making post UNT Dallas. So generally, we would say, from reflecting back on the data, 80% are doing something, whether that means to having an internship, a part-time job, a full-time job, starting a business, working in the military, and even going to graduate and or professional school, which I think is pretty good.
Did you say 80%?
Yes, sir.
That's pretty great.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, it goes to the fact of our students taking initiative and taking advantage of resources and getting out there in the world of work and handling business.
Well, that's a great bragging page for your office that you have an 80% basically success rate in getting our students in and through the university and then on to their next steps in their careers.
Absolutely. And that's the goal. I think at the end of the day, that's the why. That's why students come to college and want to move on to the next level, as we like to say, being a path for upward and social mobility here at the University of North Texas at Dallas.
Hey, Arthur, so graduation literally right around the corner, Friday, December 14th. What are some tips you can give students, in terms of just trying to get the careers on the right path, or those who are literally about to graduate? Because if they're about to graduate and they haven't done anything right now, I ain't gonna say it's too late, but at the same time, it is kind of late.
Yes, sir. The average job search should start 6 months prior to graduation.
Mm-hmm.
However, you and I both know some students are going to wait to right after.
Yeah, I got my degree now. Let me put my apps in. I finally got that piece of paper. Wrong.
Yes. It's like, I know Mr. Lumzy, I know Miss Crawford, I know Miss Polk. I know they there.
Mm-hmm.
I know they got us, and which we do. I mean, at the end of the day, we're there to help them, but it helps if they're taking advantage of the initiative and starting early ahead of time. However, like you stated before, the question was what tips I have for students that are transitioning from UNT Dallas.
Mm-hmm.
So one, I would say for them to tailor their resume and cover letter for each job opportunity that they're applying for. They want to make the employer feel special, like it is meant just for them. But then also along with that, like a subheader would be personal branding, making sure that if they have a social media account, making sure that those are
cleaned up.
Yes, sir.
No cussing.
No cussing, no inappropriate pictures, no tagging.
Take it all down. Make sure your name is professional and you have a professional email, for God's sake.
Absolutely. All of that and more.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe look into investing into some business cards or some resume paper if they're going to be.
How about a tire?
Oh, great one. Absolutely. Yes. If you know that you're going to be getting
no crushed velvet.
No crushed velvet. Maybe not for the job interview. Yeah, you definitely want to make sure with some of the money that's going to be coming in from graduating or from Christmas and or it's perfect timing, that you're setting aside some of that for upgrading your professional dress. So I think you're absolutely right. That goes to the personal branding as well. If you have a portfolio, making sure that you've collected things that are up to date. And if you have a website, make sure that it's up to date as well. I think that goes into the personal brand. Also, I would say we spoke about research earlier. So a great resource is the best places to work. The Dallas Business Journal always puts out one, but then there's also the USA Today and several other news publications that provide that as it relates to what are some companies that students could look into, even based off of industry. Also, take advantage of resources like Glassdoor that actually provides applicants with the type of questions that they're going to be asked specifically for certain interviews and also how the interview process is. And lastly, the salaries and or benefits. Like what does the total compensation look like for a particular position? Utilizing LinkedIn. Like I think it's a great resource tool. You can find out what are alumni who've graduated with the same degree, what are they doing? And how that you can even use that for a network for finding out if you're trying to, say for instance, if I wanted to work at an organization, maybe Parkland, you can see how many students from UNT Dallas work there. And you may be surprised. Some of them are within the same age group and may work in key places where that they can put in a good word. Most positions, dare I say 80% are not even posted on job boards. So you have to utilize the hidden job market. Meaning,
are you talking about networking?
Yes, sir. Absolutely. Absolutely. So networking is key. One of my quotes is you have to build, cultivate, and utilize. So whether it's taking advantage of friends and family, letting them know what you want to do, leveraging professional associations, being a part of it, attending alumni events, attending conferences, or even finding people on social media and following them as well and asking them questions. I think, as some students would like to say, sliding in their DM, but utilizing it for a positive, with a positive outcome. Yeah. Not to say that the other could, you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, I got you. So, Arthur, pretty much, listeners, I'm gonna let y'all know this right now. Don't let this career stuff fool you. Arthur is straight from the country, man. Columbia, Mississippi.
Yes, sir.
Before we got on air, he saw his dad on the Find Your Friends app on his phone. His dad was out there.
He was tracking his dad out there in
Columbia, in the country.
In the rural area somewhere.
Yes.
There's no street lights out there.
How many street lights y'all got in y'all town, Arthur?
We have a few. I'm not going to talk all the way bad about it.
I mean, one handful, two handful.
Well, I know if we were to travel down Main Street in Columbia, Mississippi, one.
Okay.
So, Arthur, how did growing up there cultivate you into the person you are today?
Great question. I would say not being afraid of hard work, not being afraid to put in the hard work. At home in Columbia, Mississippi, in Lambton.
In where?
Lambton. That's the community that I'm from. There's Columbia and then there's Lambton. So the town of Columbia has roughly 6,000 people. So I think UNT Dallas population is probably half that. And then depending on some events that we host at the university, there are more people on campus than they are in my hometown, which is crazy. So for me, growing up there, I learned a very valuable skill of integrity. People are always watching you, and you need to be mindful of who you know and who you may not know, but that they know your parents and that they know your family. And so handle your business, put on your best face, and don't get in trouble, for lack of better words. And so I learned, like I said, growing up on a farm, not being afraid of hard work. I know my father, he has cattle to this day. And so I know when I'm going home for the holidays, I know I'm probably going to be out feeding the cows, probably going to be spending some time hunting with him, and also visiting friends and family that I haven't seen in a while, that I look forward to. I feel like whenever I go home, I draw my energy from them. And I know that in all the things that I do, professionally and personally, at the end of the day, I represent them. And I represent my hometown, and I don't take it lightly.
That's great.
Interesting fact. Can I say interesting fact about my hometown?
Sure.
One of the cool things, or should I say one of the coolest people from my hometown is a former NFL player. Some would say arguably the greatest football player of all time.
Jerry Rice?
No, sir.
Walter Payton?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Walter Payton, Sweetness. It's from my hometown. Went to my high school. Absolutely. HBCU.
That's great. That's a good tidbit there. What you guys, Greg, before we let the author get up out of here?
Yeah, I was just going to say what's interesting that ties this back to even to what I commented about President Bush and his passing. It's all about family. It's all about our community. It's how we grew up. That experiences that we have in early parts of our life sort of shape us for the rest of our life. And Arthur, you're a great example of that.
Thank you so much, sir.
Okay, Arthur, before we let you go, man, how can our listeners get connected with you in the UNT Dallas Careers Department at our university?
They can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at UNTD Careers. Also, if students or the listeners are interested in following me, I can be reached on LinkedIn at Arthur Lumzy Jr. and Twitter at Arthur Lumzy Jr.
Where can they find y'all on campus?
We're located on the second floor of Founders Hall in the Student Affairs area on the second floor. So next to the elevator.
Gotcha.
I can imagine this time of year, close to graduation, they're following you directly.
They need to be, sure.
They're right behind you. Turn around, there's a line of students right behind you.
Absolutely. We're definitely making sure that we're meeting the needs of our students. One of the things that we just recently did was offer evening hours, staying open an additional hour from 5 to 6. And also on Tuesdays, we try to stay open from 5 to 7, just to make sure that we're meeting the needs of all of our students. We realize that several of our students work and they can't come in through the day, but we want to make sure that we're there. And we also offer appointments by phone and by Skype.
So y'all better take advantage, please, for God's sakes. This is the #1 job market, and this is probably the #1 career services director in the country, in my opinion.
Thank you.
That's a good plug for you.
Yeah,
right
absolutely. Thank you.
Well, Arthur, man, thank you, man. We appreciate you coming by. We'll happen to have to get you back here again, man.
Look forward to it. Thank you guys so much for the opportunity to share knowledge and information with our students and the general public.
Awesome.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Well, coming up, we'll close out the show by sharing our first professional job experiences and how you can use adversity to fuel your success. You're listening to the Urban Advantage Podcast, the official voice of Southern Dallas and the University of North Texas at Dallas. Stay tuned, y'all.
Attention UNT Dallas students. Does your resume need tweaking? Or are you in search of an internship? Better yet, are you looking to start a business? Well, our Career Services Department is where you need to be. Under the direction of Arthur Lumzy Jr. and Whitney Crawford, this department provides career tips and guidance to get your professional journey on the right path. For more information, stop by room 246 in Founders Hall or send an email to careerservices@untdallas.edu. And remember, everyone, blaze your trail. Welcome back to the Urban Advantage Podcast, the official voice of the University of North Texas at Dallas. Here are your hosts, Benjamin Bullock and Greg Campbell. Take it away, guys.
Welcome back, everyone, for our last segment. Remember, you can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Urban ADV Podcast. Again, that's Urban ADV Podcast, and join the conversation. Greg, students will be entering the professional world after graduation in the coming weeks. What was your career experience like immediately after graduating from Cornell?
Well, I have to even start just before I graduated from Cornell because I was so desperately in need of a job, even while I was at the university. I had to figure out a way to work. I had some scholarships, but I did not come from a family with a lot of means, so I had to figure out how to pay tuition and room and board. So I was looking for jobs while I was on campus and every vacation period. So I want to tell you a little story.
Okay, I'm listening. All ears.
There was a company that came to campus called Continental Can. And they were coming up to hire people for permanent employment. But I was still an undergrad, and I think I was probably a sophomore at the time. I went ahead and signed up on their list and showed up. And they, of course, said, hey, well, you're only a sophomore. You're not graduating yet. But I told them I need a summer job. And I continued not only to call them, write them, but when I got home from vacation, I showed up at their office and I went to the recruiter's office.
There you go.
And I said, hey, you may not remember me, but I'm Greg Campbell and I need a job for the summer. Well, long story short, I got a job at Continental Can working that summer.
Nice.
And for every other summer that I had during my Cornell experience and every Christmas vacation, anytime I was in New York, my hometown, I went to work at Continental Can and they employed me, whether it was for a day or two, or whether it was for a week, or whether it was for the summer vacation. I knew I had a job. I just urge all of our students as they hear this, be persistent, be prepared, and be ready to do whatever it takes to get that job.
Absolutely. And I know for me, when I graduated 2010 from Delaware State, I was very well enthused within the sports broadcasting world. So luckily for me, I did plenty of internships beforehand, and I got my first job at ESPN by going to NABJ, which is the National Association of Black Journalists. It was their annual conference, and it was in San Diego. So I connected with the ESPN recruiter. And so I was lucky to be a production assistant at ESPN, fresh out of college, which is...
Is that ESPN, like the network?
Yes, in Bristol, Connecticut, which is a very interesting place to live, considering not only the cold, but it's just really weird up there. But that's neither here nor there. But I had a really good experience there. Worked on shows like SportsCenter, NFL Live, worked with Chris Berman, Stuart Scott, rest in peace. A lot of the main anchors that you see on campus now. But unfortunately, that job was only a 7-month position. So based off that 7 months, I either got kept full-time or I got let go or I wasn't renewed. So unfortunately, put it this way. Fortunately, I didn't get renewed. I was devastated at first. My ego took a hit and I had to kind of go back to the drawing board a little bit. So kind of like you, I needed money. So when I was in college, I went back home to Delaware and my summer job was custodian. I was a custodian for a local school district. So I had to go back to that. You know what I mean? After working at ESPN, after getting a college degree. So definitely easily the most humbling experience of my entire life. So, but luckily, I stuck through it. I went back to work and worked on my writing, started my own blog, and I was just doing like random stories every single day. And luckily I got a job at UMKC in Missouri as a sports information graduate assistant, got my master's paid for, and I was able to get back in sports. So, you guys are going to face adversity. It's going to come. So just be prepared for it. But what matters is how are you going to be able to bounce back from that? And luckily for me, I put my hard hat on and I went to work and it got better and things worked out for me.
The thing was you pursued and you just decided you were going to make it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And, I'm thankful for that experience. And I love telling that story because, it's easy to say like, oh, well, put it to you this way. Imagine going to work at your old high school as a custodian after graduating from college.
And working at ESPN.
And working at ESPN and not being able to get a job. Matter of fact, on that point, I even went to Red Lobster and tried to apply for a busboy job and got denied. So I'm like...
No, wait. Red Lobster turned you down, man?
Man, look, I'm telling you, it was rough. It was real rough. And my brother had did that job, and it was quick and easy money. It's like, shoot, let me go over there. I'm pretty good at busting tables. I could do that real quick. They said, nah, we're just going to move in a different direction. I'm like, what? Whatever, man. So, but it actually ended up working out, man. I'm just very thankful for that experience. And like I said, man, just be able to have the ability to bounce back from adversity. I mean, don't feel sorry for yourself. Greg, what else you got going on, man, before we let these people go?
Just busy as we wrap up the year. You know, for many of us who are entrepreneurs in this world, this is prime time because we got to make the numbers before the end of the year.
Fourth quarter,
fourth quarter, December, as everybody's sort of cooling out, we're speeding up. Got a lot of deals to close, a lot of activity happening. This has been an exciting time. It's been an exciting year, and I'm so grateful for how this year has worked out. It's been a year of new experiences. I get to be on air with Ben Jive, you know, all those wonderful things that have been happening. So it's been a year of gratitude for me as I have had the opportunity of working with so many great entrepreneurs, being involved in many deals and being able to help several businesses thrive, expand, and do what we do, disrupt, scale, and be noble in purpose.
I need to get like you more often, man. You know, just for me, man, it's finals week, so, you know, I got this last week coming up, man, and so make sure my students close out right. And, you know, graduation, like I said, is right around the corner, so shout out to those who are graduating, you know, fought through those 4 long years, and now you're into the real world, which some of our students already are. So, you know, I know they'll be able to, you know, have that piece of paper, have that degree, and be ready to roll and hop into the real world, you know?
That's it.
Oh, before we get out of here, Greg, we have our great friend, Portia, here in the studio.
With the prototype.
Hey, man, if you a business owner, entrepreneur, and you're not really in town like that, hit her up, man. Greg, you a perfect example of that.
I'm a perfect example. Portia runs my life. Everything from making sure that I am where I'm supposed to be, that my clients are in line, that my household moves well, and that, you know, I am on the right flights and I'm booked for the right locations, that I am doing what I need to do. I get up in the morning, I talk to this lady, she makes sure that I have everything I need to have, and then I can get through the day, and that my clients and others get served really well.
Portia, why don't you just give yourself a quick plug real quick?
Hey, everyone. I'm really happy to be here and be on the podcast. You guys are lucky to have these 2 dynamic hosts and these great guests that they bring together. Again, Portia, the prototype, helping you have more time with less stress.
So how do we find you?
You can follow me on Instagram, on all the social channels at The Prototype Life.
And shout out to Portia for having me on the Power Lunch Series podcast panel last week. Greg came out and showed your boys some love, and it was a great time with 3 other Dallas area podcasters, and I just had a really great time. For Benjamin Bullock and Greg Campbell, thank you for listening to the Urban Advantage podcast, the official voice of Southern Dallas and the University of North Texas at Dallas. And remember, everyone, blaze your trail.
Take care.
Thank you for listening to the Urban Advantage podcast, the official voice of the University of North Texas at Dallas. To learn more about the university, head to untdallas.edu. And remember, blaze your trail.